Absolutely.
Hello, Andy.
What's up, Mike?
Okay. Like to call the meeting to order. Have a roll call. Is anybody absent? Okay, Wes is absent. That's the only one absent. We're at the minutes from February. Is there any discussion? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
I'll second.
And a motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, looks like we're moving on down the road. Looks like reports on funding events. Okay, that moved real fast. Okay, all right. You have financial information, Jill. Okay,
Do it.
all right.
Okay. Your paperclip packet. Balance in our current operating account, $2,396,025.61. Balance in our old operating account, $469,162.92. And balance in our collections account is $1,363,648.87. With the CD at $521,686.65.
Quick question, Jill. You said our old operating and our new?
I thought we closed.
I thought
We haven't yet. We gotta do that. We gotta get Bart up too.
I went by to see him earlier today and he went there, so.
Money in those accounts are unencumbered, aren't they? Where they're not pledged to anything, they're just in the bank.
So-
How much, what's that dollar value? Do you have that off the top of your head?
Dollar value for what?
For what is unencumbered?
$4,750,524.05.
That entire balance
Well,
then?
no, that's less the $1,363,648.87.
Okay, so three,
Three.
three-ish, 4-ish. Thank you.
We'll flip to the third page. We were in the red for the month of negative $11,116.95. Current month last year, we were in the negative $3,187.50. Change.
Yeah.
We had a massive drop in sales last month. Y'all see that here.
Snow.
We had greater collections than this month last year. We had a lot greater expenses than we did, about 30,000 more expenses. February.
Any unexpected expenses?
Yeah. It was 3 or 4 days. It was impactful for us. No
These are
insurance.
January collections.
Yeah, no, yeah.
January. Collected in February, month of January.
Was in January.
Questions?
Any
Not out of the usual. Look, this year to date, last year to date, I mean, we're at 120,162.28 to date this year, whereas last year, this time, 63,798.36. So we're doubling where we were last year this time.
Yes.
You're a lot higher.
That happened with us too. More questions about finance?
Your legal size pieces of paper. There's 2 pages are just the calculation of the checks to the city and to the A&P Commission. Go to page 3. Our January collections were $504,142.25. And that consisted of $469,328.78 of prepared food, $34,813.47 in hotel. And we are $60,572.04 less than we were January of 2025. And $39,558.32 less than we were in January of 24.
Yeah, it did.
I know it hit us for about 165,000.
Friday, Saturday.
It was a negative for
Friday
us.
night.
Yeah.
I had to look at was cleaning off my driveway picture. I found it.
Page 4, we have past due collections. They totaled $48,850.52, and that was 8.65% of total collections, as compared to last year of only $1,099.49. And the 5th page is collections excluding delinquent, which totaled $455,291.73, and that is $108,323.07 less than last year at this time. But on a good note, page 6, our payable collections totaled $286,740.58, and that was still 50.78% of total collections.
Ding, 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 ding.
We were
ding,
up over last year by $20,518.69. Delinquent collections are so great because code enforcement really kicked some tail this month.
Oh,
Absolutely. We cleared the delinquent list
Yes.
totally
Totally, yes.
and got the Dave's hot chicken.
How did that go about?
Mike was able to, Officer Davis, sorry, was able to get in contact with, well, several people at the restaurant that they finally got their stuff in order and got to the appropriate person finally.
I'll make a motion for the adoption of the financials.
So
Second,
made, is there a second?
second.
Andy, the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Let's go forward, okay?
Delinquent list.
Obviously, a pretty low list here.
And the permit number 1164 and 1109 are also, I think, both involved in another incident with the city, so. Right, one of those two? Yes. The two, 1164 and 1109, aren't they involved in the other incident with the city? The Libri?
I will make the motion for our standard 30 days, since it doesn't appear that there's anything beyond that for the proposed assessment notice.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say nay. Right. Code enforcement?
Oh, I heard.
Checklist. File complete. Citation, and then before the prosecuting attorney's office can actually. Case to take.
Okay.
Emailed this to,
Yes, yes.
yeah. This is in a. So basically, in order for y'all to issue any kind of citation, this has to be filled out.
Often a very difficult thing on our end to fill this out because the people that are delinquent have not submitted monthly statements. They have not submitted reports, so we don't, the only figure we have is an estimated figure based on the prior 3 months average that they made a payment. So we don't have monthly statements. The amount that's delinquent is just an estimate.
We'll just have to write that on there.
Right.
Any other discussion about this?
What about this? I do have something to talk about.
That's surprising, Andy.
New or old?
Probably old. I think we've spoken about this before. So we'll talk about it during old business, if
Here we
that's
go.
okay.
Okay, we'll put-
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, Rachel, looks like you're up to bat.
Somebody tall must have been up here. Okay, let's see. I have been working a lot on AACVB stuff, which is the Arkansas Association of CVBs. I know I've told y'all that I'm chairing that association this year, which has been a lot of work lately. So during Governor's Conference, we had a meeting, and it's basically the CVB directors from all over the state. We've been working to try and get contacts for every city that collects an A&P tax, because some of the cities are really small and don't have staff. Anyway, working on that. But we also, I have met with representatives from the Municipal League a couple of times. So they have been approached by Airbnb, and Airbnb would like to draft legislation this year to make it so that every city that has short-term rental properties, that tax is collected by DFNA and then remitted to the cities, as opposed to cities like us where we have individual permits and we collect on our own, or some cities have contracts directly with Airbnb, and they just get a check from Airbnb every month. And we talked about that in the past, and it was decided that that wasn't going to happen. So anyway, most of CVB people are against it. They want to be able to collect their own taxes. They want to be able to get that money more quickly, keep a reporting of who's paying, who's not paying. If we were to get payments directly from DFNA, then you wouldn't get any of the data that we're actually working to get right now, such as where the house is located, what their occupancy was, who the owners are. They would just give us a check, which is easy, but also I think some people fear that that gives them a tiptoe into, well, if you're collecting the short-term rental tax, is there a time when they're going to try to collect the restaurant tax or the other lodging taxes? So there's a chance that it won't even have enough votes to get on the agenda, but did want to tell you about it and just give you an update on where that stands. And as I know more, I will tell you. Let's see. So according to the STAR report in January, speaking of hotels, occupancy rate was actually up 9% over January of 2024. So our collections are down, but it looked like that was mostly restaurant collections that were down, according to the financials. So hotels did surprisingly well. I, again, had a call with Multiview, discussed updating some creative on digital ads. Videos that we have currently running with them have received over 10,000 total plays, which is great. That means people are seeing our content, learning about Conway. Met with Dave Creek to discuss what our social media content would be for the month. Talked about some new restaurants opening in downtown and Hendricks Village, a new golf simulator business that's opening in downtown. So some cool things that could attract visitors or be interesting to people. Had a call with ITI Digital, that's the technology company that provides our online calendar software. And for the past year, we had 711 events that were pulled into the platform, and 443 of those were approved. So sometimes I don't feel like they're events that are pertinent to visitors. So a tax workshop, well, that doesn't need to be on Visit Conway, so I'll decline that. But because it's within our boundaries, it's going to show up. So I just have to decline those. But the majority of them are being approved and posted, and that solved a problem for us, whereas in the past we had a really hard time coming up with that list of events. So let's see, what else? Spoke with the Baum Gallery director. So they had been awarded A&P funding for an event that they did earlier in the year. They have not used all of their money yet. And so they had asked me if they could continue to use it to promote other shows that they're doing throughout the year. I told her, yes, that would be fine. It's a new director. It's her first time to fill out the application. And I think she just kind of underestimated how much or overestimated how much she would spend on her first show. And she still has other shows coming up. Typically in the past, they would have written the grant to provide, cover their whole season. So I told her that that was fine as long as she still followed all the protocols, used the logo, submitted invoices as always. So, let's see. We have a e-newsletter coming out through Arkansas Tourism later this month. So I wrote content for that, pulled all the images for it, focusing on downtown, specifically desserts, shopping, dining, mountain biking, trying to drive people here, hopefully during their spring break time. But also had a board meeting with the Arkansas Tourism Development Foundation, which is another board that I'm on. And this board is associated with state tourism in that they basically pay for all the things that can't be paid for by tax dollars. So sponsorships for governor's conference, they provide some scholarships. So meeting with them, and I would say those are the high points. Oh, I'm sorry. We also had another event, a wrestling event that was supposed to take place in January, but was canceled because of the snow, and they couldn't reschedule it because the expo center was booked up any of the other dates they would want. And so, unfortunately, I had to let them know they could not receive their AMP funding because their event didn't take place. So, that wasn't fun. And then another thing is I had talked to you in the past about Make Music Day, which is we were planning to partner with Create Conway on this. We would have a website where artists, musicians could match up with kind of like online dating for venues and musicians where they could meet each other and say, hey, you can play at my spot from 2 to 3, and it all has to take place on this specific day. The executive director at Create Conway took another job, and they decided not to replace her with a new executive director, but just with a programs manager to run Art Walk for the season. And so because of that, it was all going to fall on me to make it all happen. And so I reached out to Make Music Day, and they have agreed to let us move our fee that we paid $350 to 2027 and just delay starting it by a year. So wanted to let you all know that. And then we'll just re-sign another contract with them later in the year. And then hopefully I can have some help on it. I don't have to do the whole thing by myself.
Careful, that makes a lot of sense.
I was like, oh no, I was really counting on them to be able to, because they have, a database of artists, and it started to feel like too much for one person. So next year we will circle back. And again, it was $350 that will go towards our fee for next year. So, and now Jack is going to talk to you about Air DNA.
All right.
Jack?
How are y'all? All right, so Air DNA has a little bit of a lag. It's 1 to 2 months, but we've got, they're showing 88 properties in the city as short-term rentals with revenue in
Say that, how
2026.
many?
88,
Thank you.
yep. And they've done about $300,000 so far this year. So far, of those 28 addresses, or properties, excuse me, or of those 88, 28 of them use their exact location. So those are really quick for us to figure out. So I've sent those to Denise, but there's an additional, whatever that gap is. Let me back up. So I've sent 28. Of those 28, 8 are licensed. So that's 20 that aren't. And she has 25 in addition to that 28. So quick math there. 33 are licensed in the city. Does that sound right? Roughly. So there's about 55 that don't currently have a license. So next step for me, this is a little bit tedious. Each one takes a different amount of time, but using the listing photos, Google Street View, figuring out where it's at, and then going from there. So I think by this time next month, the next meeting, I'll have those 55 done. So we'll have a complete list up to date for March as of this year. So any questions?
Oh, thank
Lots
you
of
for your
questions
work.
about
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's, I think, $297,000, which I want to say is up 6 to 8% from last year. I don't have that off the top of my head.
That's a 2025 number,
Yes.
290
No, it's this year, as of this year.
February?
That's right. Yeah. So it is up.
That's a gross, that's a gross.
Yeah.
gross.
That would be about $6,000,
Okay.
I think,
Wow, I was
in
gonna
A&P. I think it's about 6,000.
Anybody needs help with this, let me know.
All right. What else was I gonna say? So we, as a part of our subscription, we're able to look at peer markets. So we've got not just our data. We don't get the reports for these locations, but we can see what Cabot's doing, Bryant's doing, Springdale, Rogers, all of our peer communities, so we can compare ourselves to them. So pretty cool.
Amazing how you,
Yes.
Yes.
they don't report monthly?
Well, I need to look at it, but
Nearly 88.
you've got several that just have one night that they've booked. And it's pretty top heavy, so your highest performing ones are significant out of that 300,000. Does that make sense? Like you've got a lot with 5 or less nights that have been booked. So.
How are we proposing to go back and deal with people doing this? Taxes.
There a way for us to
Thought.
prove that they've been renting and what they collected?
There is, my confidence level in those are a little lower. They have a last 12-month revenue, so I can see a property that's licensed today in the city, I can see what they did last year, or an unlicensed property, I can see what they did last year. Is that what you're asking? Like, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they get that. I think they just scrape it once a month and total it up.
Have to book somehow.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
That's recorded somewhere.
Yep.
So we can backtrack for them to pay those taxes, correct?
Absolutely.
I would think.
Some of them are single rooms too. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I can do that as well. our home, single room, whatever.
Is there like Airbnb, whenever somebody's trying to list their home, are they putting a notice out saying like, hey, there might be taxes that you owe to the city? How many people are aware that they owe taxes or that they have to report that?
So, I mean, some of them probably. Airbnb is supposed to charge all city and state taxes. So if they are listed and booking through Airbnb, they should be collecting it. But because we don't have a contract with Airbnb directly, they're not remitting that to us. So maybe they're not collecting that. I don't know. I know that they do that for some cities, but again, we don't have a contract with them to do that, so they're not doing that for Conway.
Just wondering if there's a way to get that information out there, like, hey, if you plan on, doing a short-term rental, like, you gotta collect taxes for us, I don't, at least start there, and, I mean, then.
Have a permit.
Right,
Right.
you have to get a like, yeah, advertise that there's a whole process for you to do an STR in Conway.
Yes, I would think that would need to come from the city more so than, from like a AMP commission via the city, more so than AMP commission via Visit Conway. Because if you're trying to open a new business, you're gonna theoretically be interested in what permits you need to get in order to run a business in the city. Since Conway doesn't have business licenses, people aren't forced to do that. So, I don't know maybe they're just listing them with no permits, just willy-nilly. I
I
want
think it's
somebody
just
to
so
stay in
easy
my
to
house.
list them that they just like, oh, let me put my house up for this weekend.
Right.
And not even thinking of it as, hey.
I
need
think
to-
that's
as a
probably
little
happening a
business,
lot.
Like, I need a business license and all that. So I don't know if there's like put a postcard in the mail to every house or something. What would be the best way to?
I mean, once
get
we
that.
have all of those addresses, there's no reason that something like that couldn't come from the city clerk's office.
I think we might even.
I think a lot of people would plead ignorance and say they did not know that the AMP tax applied to their short-term rental property, but it definitely does. Anybody listening, it does.
That's a good look. There, won't you?
Right. Probably, some of them probably think that that's happening, and it's not their responsibility to follow through with.
You all recall, we ran into that when we started getting a lot of like restaurant delivery services in town. People were confused of, is Uber Eats or whatever delivery service collecting this versus the restaurant, and who's responsible for remitting it? So,
They're still confused about that.
yes, so it is an issue that lots of people are dealing with when it comes to these online platforms, so.
Actually, I've excluded those. I think
I was doing B&B in New Orleans a few weeks ago, and it was kind of amazing. They don't let you do anything on this, on the same block. If you don't live there, you can't do it. You either gotta have to stay in the place or you have to be within so much. Because that's what we kind of looked around, Landon and I, when we were. I promised I was never going to Mardi Gras, but I did. But I kind of noticed that happening. So they didn't let anybody. You just couldn't be next door to somebody. You had to be in the property or something like that. But it was pretty strict.
Questions?
I don't have any.
STRs
for all
are
your
also
work.
some of the absolute worst filers.
Did you say?
So the STRs are also some of the absolute worst filers. They're worse than the food trucks.
On my part. Thank you all.
You are. Thank you.
Okay. Looks like Parks and Rec.
Good afternoon. My name is Easton May, and I'm Programs and Marketing Manager for Parks and Rec. March is a busy month, as I'm sure you are all aware, kind of the kick-up of the summer season, spring baseball, that kind of stuff. Starting with the Expo Center, March 1st through 9th, we have Ray Lana going on, which is obviously a huge event, you know. March 13th through 15th, that weekend, we have Enchanted, and so that'll be coming up, I guess, this Friday through Sunday. And then the 20th through the 22nd is GNS Gun Show. And then we'll end off the month with the Conway Home Show on the 26th through the 28th. As far as the ball fields go, every weekend there's tournaments. I mean, Conway Station, City of Colleges Park, Don Owen Park, our complex, there's our tournaments every single weekend. We have thousands of kids come in, like it's the prime right now. So we're experiencing a lot of that. And then as well as our gyms, so Don Owen Sports Complex, or the indoor center at Don Owen, and the McGee Center. We have 3 different basketball tournaments at both, or 3 different tournaments at both facilities on those weekends. And then also coming up this month, we will have our youth fishing derby out at Conway Station Park. That'll be March 28th. So like I said, busy month, lots of stuff going on, but we're excited for it. So any questions?
Past Saturday, I drove past the community center and 9 o'clock. I was headed to my office. Looked over and the community center parking lot was jam up and jelly tight. I mean, it was packed.
Yeah, they had a volleyball tournament over there this weekend, so we had some overflow at Don Owen as well.
Yeah, and I went back about 4 o'clock that same afternoon, and the parking lot was still the same way.
Cool.
So it was a busy, busy day there. And with that thought in mind, Ms. Hurd, do we collect sales tax from the people that sell hot dogs on premises at the community? Yes. That is prepared food. Would you verify that? That's out of the blue, and you didn't have any idea I was going to ask that question.
This last week,
I would not have either had I not seen 47 kids.
It's, yeah.
And I'm trying to get to the swimming pool, so.
we had 20 to 25 tables that were not from Conway that were in our restaurant the last 2 weekends because of these tournaments.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing, because I'm listening, and walking around. So, yeah. But a lot of it's out of town people. Last 2 Saturdays, I've seen the most out of town come into my restaurant and that we've ever had the last several years. Just a lot of new folks. And I said that's a win-win.
Like that.
Yeah.
A lot of it was from volleyball. I'm just
Yeah.
here to tell
Yeah.
you, because those folks were out in mass. Thank you for a good report.
Yep,
Thank you.
Do we have any new permits? All right.
do have a couple of new permits.
All right.
The new golf simulator, they got their permit. I got updated information from B&B and Chewy's this month. There's 1 new mobile vendor. We got 3 new short-term rentals, and I do have another one sitting on my desk that I need to process. So we technically have 4. R&M Southern Eatery put theirs as inactive. That's all on our permits. Our A&P application is officially live online, so they can fill it out that way now. Jill, whenever a new permit is issued, you'll get an automatic email from the system with a rundown of the permit and all the information that you need from that. And next up, we will get short-term rental online. So hopefully we can get that done before all of these addresses get collected.
I think the golf simulation is gonna be big.
Where is that located?
It is downtown, kind of by where R&M used to be. It's on that.
It's where.
Oh, okay,
that.
Okay.
okay.
I didn't remember what it was before.
My
Mhm.
husband just built a golf simulation.
Sweet.
Here for hours. We don't sell anything.
I don't know if we'll be
Well,
getting tax from them for a little bit because they're still working on their alcohol permit and their food and all of that. But they went ahead and got their permit, so they have it for when they open.
Okay.
I don't know that they're to that point yet where they're selling food and alcohol. We'll just have to see when they're ready to open.
Opened up in the village.
Kristen Tapp,
that was
Uh-huh,
the one on
he
there.
has all of his
I
stuff.
think, I think that's
Mhm.
Frost. in
It's
Kent.
Frost.
it is, yeah.
You know
used to
him,
work for
he's on
me.
his P's and Q's.
Yeah.
On the one you said that it's inactive, I guess that's the first time I've heard that.
It's
So,
just when because R&M moved out of the city, so they no longer
Okay.
are selling.
okay,
So they just call and let us know that their permit's no longer active.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're supposed to.
mhm. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you. New permit applications?
Going.
Okay, way to go, Hank. Way to go.
All right, did everyone get a copy of this document?
Yes.
This is some work that Corey Parks from our team put together. I think he also had some help from Kim Williams pulling together just some research.
So this is just research. We didn't
This
put
is
something out
research.
for
This is
bid.
not a bid, and I'll get into
Okay.
some of this. And so what you have in front of you is all kind of, I'll say it's holidays and lighting, because the lighting would go beyond the Christmas season. But also, I do think that this speaks to a broader point of investing in some of our, I'll call facilities and venues, and us thinking kind of broadly about that. We're going to talk about, if you zoom all the way in, this is Christmas and a lot of it's downtown. But if you start to zoom back, I think you can think about not just Christmas, not just downtown, things like the Meadows Bike Park, some of our public spaces. We have the opportunity to still invest in our facilities and to attract visitors here. We have other facilities on the horizon that we would like to open here that will bring visitors, but we're going to fight with the stick we have instead of the one we wish we had, and figure out how to attract people and keep them here. And then just one other little piece of editorial, just because when we did figure out that snow, that our restaurant folks kind of took that on the chin on those weekends. I saw a really smart post from someone who, when other people were making a grocery store run, they said, hey, we're going to make a run to some restaurants and we're going to buy, a big enough order to carry us through the weekend. I haven't been to a restaurant that's run out of milk or bread yet, so they'll even prepare it for you. I bet they got something with eggs. And so we're out of the woods, I guess, this year. But I just thought that was a clever thing, and it really did land on the page, because we can't go back and eat that weekend's food. So we did that in my house. If you're going to go out and stockpile some groceries, stockpile some restaurant food. You don't have to have those milk sandwiches, all Christmas. You can be eating, pizza, fajitas, all that stuff. Okay, so what you have in front of you is a breakdown of some holiday plus oriented infrastructure The biggest item in there is perimeter lighting, and I will say that that is what extends beyond the holidays, because this is permanently installed lighting, and it's also programmable, so we wouldn't just be doing red and green or blue and white. You may hit another seasonal or daily color if we have some success. And of the athletic variety, maybe we match that school's color. If it's a month, week, or day that needs recognition, or even an event like the art walks, things like that. St. Patrick's Day would be an example. But in any of our events. And so, I think about Art Walk, there is a map on page 2 here. And, you can kind of understand the impact that coordinating a lighting program for that space would have on a visitor. And the whole premise is you get some people to come and who maybe wouldn't have, and take some pictures they maybe wouldn't have, and then stay a little longer than they normally would have, and just make the place stickier and a better product to share around the state. And so you see here some of the specs. Corey talked to some different providers just to get some pricing. You see the specs for that lighting, 5 street segments coming in just over $200,000. And you've got a map here of all the blocks that are covered. I will say that that's a big number, but that's about what a 1,100 square foot commercial venue might cost to build. And so when we talk about hosting events like Art Walk, hosting holiday events, hosting St. Patrick's, hosting all these other things, the CapEx on everything is expensive. So size it up mentally, kind of in that fashion. Then as we move into the other, traditional Christmas shopping season style decorations, we've got some breakdowns here. These are things that they last a long time, but they don't last forever. And so we've done a pretty good job of this. You've seen with the ornament stacks and some of the decorations downtown, but those do age out and have to be replaced. And so I think everybody kind of understands the premise on the wreaths. You've got an example here that's done in partnership with Conway Corp, hanging those just like they've hung the snowflakes. Turning over to page 4, you see an example of the ornament stack. Ornament stack, that's the official name for those. I don't know what kind of other things people call them on Facebook, but we're going to stick with an ornament stack. That's what the replacement costs and new sets will cost. And then he threw in an example of the Christmas light bulbs, kind of the oversized bulbs, to show there. And then finally, on page 5, is a photo backdrop. We've had the selfie pods, the fiberglass snowmen and gingerbread man, and then obviously you have the Christmas tree. And it is, if you do a social media scrape, that is, it's out there. And the truth is, that is advertising. I mean, you're not paying for the media, but you're getting the eyeballs just like any others, except maybe it might be better because people don't filter that out. They actually look at it because they know somebody and interact with it. And then on the final page, he's included some places that have done a little bit of economic research on their holiday spends and just what some of the peer type cities are doing. I will qualify some of these costs that were researched. Some of these are based on kind of an off-season purchase, which is right now. You wait a little longer, you're actually getting into peak season purchase as we get closer to the holidays. The longer we wait to make a decision, I would say some of these prices could go up. It's not a guarantee that they go up. It's all going to be based on supply and demand and what's in people's warehouse and needs to go. But the prices on this page, they're not a bid, but they are prices that are available to the commission this month. So I think Corey would want me to be transparent about that.
prices that are listed there only apply to the holiday-specific things. The lighting package, that's what the price
Price
is
is.
for those streets. But also, I mean, ideally, maybe you would do all of the streets listed there, but that's not the requirement. If you say you don't want to spend that much, then maybe you're able to alter which streets do and don't have lighting. So this is all just information for you to make the decision that you think is most appropriate.
I would say this falls in the line of research rather than a proposal or slate to purchase.
So the A and P items,
Yes, ma'am. And we have typically handled storage, and then it really is a partnership. I mean, obviously the city installs some of these things where it makes sense. Sometimes you use a private vendor. Sometimes we use Conway Corp because we're on their infrastructure for the streetlights, and then we end up storing it in storage that's owned or leased by the chamber. So everybody kind of has been taking a bite where it makes sense, which that's a feature, not a bug. I mean, it's a good system to have in place.
I'll also add the AMP Commission paid for the original ornament stacks that we've been using for the last several years. And Spencer Clausen let us know this year that they would make them work in 2025, but he did not know if that would be an option in 26, just because wear and tear, you know, they get moved around, they're out in the elements for a month every year, so they're not meant to last forever. So it is time to replace them. And in talking with Corey and Kim and Brad, the fiberglass light bulbs, those were seen as kind of, you could do the ornament bowls in one roundabout and maybe the lights in another roundabout. So it wasn't an either or, it was kind of a, here's some options to do multiple different things, and trying really hard to concentrate those decorations in the high traffic areas around shopping areas, so that when people are coming to Conway to Christmas shop, those are the people that are seeing them.
They're feeling it.
In obviously our residents are going to see it too, but maybe not placing them in more residential areas and focusing them more on high traffic areas for visitors.
so the commission total cost is $352,707.15. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we would also be going back to, we would want to go back and take prices from all the different vendors for everything to figure out how to do that. I mean, so
How many of these ball stacks do we have right now? We could probably use another 8, 10.
I think what had been put together here was 3 new ornament stacks and then 3 of the whimsical, oversized classic decor bulb stacks. Yeah, if any.
Very whimsical.
Are you planning us to take a vote on this today?
I want y'all to do what y'all feel led to do. This was, like I said, this is research. I think that we got a, single-digit percentage level of confidence on how much these prices would move now. They could go up if you're like, well, I think I want to do it. Let's look at it in 2 months. We're probably then getting into kind of, well, now you're going to pay peak pricing. So I think that was why we wanted to get it in front of you now.
Santa sleigh would go in front of the tree.
I think that's probably the likely spot. I mean, you need some, or thereabouts. Yeah.
Is it possible for businesses to sponsor some of these, like ball stacks on the roundabouts,
Why it
and maybe
couldn't,
offset some
Yeah.
of that cost?
why we couldn't?
the ones in that area, maybe,
Other area.
because you could,
I would say, I think the downtown partnership has money and is able to contribute a small amount. They don't have a ton of money, but I think they'd set up to $10,000 for downtown specific things. As far as sponsoring, I feel like that feels more chambery than A&P commissiony. As far as getting sponsors, that's just my opinion because we've never functioned that way before. But I also, these are just options. You can say, oh, we think the sleigh, whatever, we don't want to pay for that. We just want to pay for this and this. That's fine too. You get to pick and choose. These are just all your options.
I was thinking
we
more
have
of the
$4.7
roundabout.
million
or-
sitting in the account. We're always talking about we need to spend our money.
Yeah.
You know, and that was so much fun at Christmas, being out there at the tree and the countdown and all that, and us getting to go take pictures with Santa and stuff. And I think this is a great investment. That's my opinion.
Bates, I usually don't disagree with you a lot, but I'm gonna disagree with you here for a minute. I don't, well,
Serious. No, I almost went there.
but you were kind of, what I heard you doing, I heard you apologizing because the cost of the lights was so high. I don't think we're spending, or we're talking about near enough money and near enough coverage. I think we need to get this project spread out farther than what's listed in here.
I'm glad you heard it that
I
way,
agree
but I
with
definitely,
Andy.
I definitely was kind of framing it as, wouldn't you rather have this than 1,100 square foot? But I mean, this is a 10 block venue for $200,000. It's a surprisingly high number if you're not used to dealing with big numbers, but I think we've got the opportunity to change the way an area that could host, tens of thousands of people at one time for what
Yep, I agree with Andy. Or here at the last sentence where it says, can start with priority blocks and expand as budget allows. I think it needs to start out expanded.
That budget. I've just been writing down places here. Community center, the bike trails, not only the ones here, but the ones out yonder. Hendricks on Markham all the way from downtown to Hendricks. Out and around UCA, out and around all of our higher education institutions. Out at Elsinger Boulevard, out at Sam's, if we're gonna do this, let's do it. Let's don't halfway do something.
I
Let's
agree.
do
So
it.
do you think you can gather this information by the next meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Could we expand the perimeter lighting to
Oh,
include more
yeah.
downtown?
I hear a lot of
That'd
people.
be great.
I'll run it all, yes. Yeah, and I was just saying, and we've got, this is, like I said, and I'm not taking credit or blame for this work, because I didn't do this work, but I do want us to continue the conversation we're having about this, investing in public spaces in a way that is attractive to visitors and facilitates, that part of our economy. I want us to have that same conversation about other things that have nothing to do with Christmas shopping, but have to do with other times of year and other audiences and all those things. So,
How many people came to last couple of years for the Home Alone house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot, just that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make them an offer for that house, but I do know that they've got
Things would be a little short for that.
it's a nice place, so.
Place behind Batesville.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
Watch out. Somebody might throw a fish lure at you in a minute.
One thing I do, I'm opening the door to a lot of people that are walking out the doors, and the thing they're talking about is how pretty Conway looks. We're getting a lot of compliments out there. I see them stopping in group. There's anniversaries, all these other things that are happening, and I'm hearing that a lot from guests that they're pretty ecstatic. Let's blow them away. Let's blow them away.
Well, lights in an area, it gets safer,
Mm-hmm,
it makes it more attractive.
mm-hmm.
Consequently invite
Puts
them
them
to
in a
come.
better mood.
Right.
Yeah, that's just
Come on down and
Whimsical.
see us.
Whimsical, exactly, yeah.
Yes, it's whimsical.
I do think, but you've seen this with the bridges in
Yeah.
Little Rock, but I mean, you know.
Or
you could-
Facebook post for
Yeah.
advertising.
Exactly, exactly.
So give me some direction and I'm gonna do it. You want to hear, you want options on expanding the light package?
Yes.
I would
Right.
like to see that, but
Mhm.
we might ought to go ahead and talk about voting on replacing our Christmas ball deal.
Ornament
Thank you.
stack.
Thank you very much. Our ornament stack. I appreciate it.
Is that a
Wouldn't be
motion,
the
Andy?
First time I've stuck my foot in my mouth. But I'd like to talk about that now.
Maybe
if
what we can
could.
do is have, Jamie and them take a look at what that cost would be to replace those along with the other information that we've asked him for, and then we could have it all pretty much in one package to take a look at.
Now, is this something that we really need legal counsel to tell us, you've got to put this out for bid if we get above a certain dollar figure? I don't know the answer to that.
I'm not sure.
I don't know that it wouldn't be, maybe just now that we have kind of a refined scope of work, there's nothing, I mean, I know for a fact we can reconvene in person on this legally. But I don't know that this isn't the kind of work that we can't work on the next 2 weeks and get you some interim information to, and then see what the action, but we should talk to the acquisition folks. We should talk to city attorney and, you know, button that up. And also get something that looks like binding purchase agreements from these folks at this price. In case they're watching this video and they're like, well, now, since it seems like you really, really want it,
Yeah.
you know, here's what we're looking at. And so, I think I read you loud and clear, and maybe we're gonna come back with a broader, not smaller scope.
But I would like to see.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
That'd be like an April thing that we'd be talking about.
Or maybe before, but now like I said, I haven't had contact, I haven't had contact with these vendors, but, you know, we have a deal, could you wait another 3 weeks? I feel like most of the other vendors I've ever dealt with would say yes to that. So we're gonna go back and in the interim, share with you a larger scope, and we'll have everybody copied on that, and it'll be available for everybody.
Good.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have any old business?
Yeah, old business. And I've kind of touched on this just a minute ago,
I know.
since we don't have a legal representative with us on any kind of a regular basis anymore. I have talked with a gentleman who does do some work for cities, and for counties, and
Right.
yeah,
That's the exact thing he's talking about.
I don't know whether we need to advertise this position. You have something to say?
Yes, there is an RFP currently live on the city's website for legal services for the A&P Commission. I believe they are due at the end of March. And I think the 24th maybe, and I'm supposed to meet with Felicia
Thank you.
on that day. So
Excellent.
share that with your contact. And you do the same. That way they can apply.
Yes,
I'll do that.
okay.
So- And the scope of it is pretty general, but it would literally be advising you on some of the things we talked about today.
Yeah.
You know, who needs to fill out that form every time you want to move forward with, you know, delinquent charges? paying for this stuff.
Regularly attending the meetings.
Yes, attend your
Yes.
meetings, review contracts on your behalf. So
Contact.
we should have proposals. Like I said, the end of this month, I'll share with you all, and then you can discuss it at your April meeting.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, looks like we're at that spot in life to have a motion.
So moved.
All ayes.
Ah.
Okay, there's no nays today. Not anywhere else in America is that happening, but we good to have it here, so. Thank you.
Michael?
Thank you.
Michael?